Okay, my name is Shmaar Blount. I am a first grade teacher at Eagle. I have been here for 4 years. I think it's a great initiative to introduce technology more into the classrooms and to allow educators to really dive into being able to play with the technology and try different ideas or different apps so that way they can bring them up to life in the classroom. I've had the chance to look at new apps and I've been exposed to some of them I haven't been used to or used before. So that has been great, being able to work with my coworkers and just kind of play and think of different ideas and brainstorm with one another of how this could be used and to teach ELA or math or science or social studies. I think it's been one of the best parts and most productive uses of the TEC Mentor program. I think, well, for them, they're coming in from kindergarten where they're used to doing a lot more of drawing and a little bit more hands-on activities. So I think that when you incorporate the iPad, even though it may be the same thing of writing or putting something together in words, that it makes them feel a little bit more playful. So if we use an app, where they can draw and they can draw a word and draw the picture to go with it, I think that's a little bit more appropriate for them and it makes them feel more comfortable. So even if it's simply writing a sight word, but being able to change the color that they write it in, or be able to use a pattern or like a highlighter to write it, they're excited by the color, it looks different, it's not just black and white, and it brings it to life for them. So I think that's important in trying to emerge the kindergarten skills that they've done and what they're used to with what's expected from them now at first grade. I like to do sometimes, if I can, in a whole group, if I've already introduced the topic, and allow them to write instead of having them get a paper and pencil to write, to use the iPads, maybe work with a partner, so they're working in the teamwork skill as well as working on what's ever going on in the classroom. I've started using it in guided reading as well, practice on our phonics skills, writing on the boards, allowing them to have that tactile use as they're continuing to read and to blend words. I think that one of the things is that sometimes we want the kids to just get to work, and when they're introduced to something new, I think it's important that they get a chance to really play around with it and to really learn about what they're using. So that's one thing I've tried to incorporate before we really use the app or a site for a specific skill or an assignment, that they get a chance to play around with it, and we find time, even if it's at the end of the day or 5 minutes, to just play around with what they're going to be working with. I think so that way when it's time for them to actually do the work, it helps them to focus on that skill or focus on whatever they're being asked to do, because they've already figured out how to use this, and they don't need more than 5 minutes to figure it out, sometimes less than that. But it builds that confidence and they know what they're doing, they know how it can be useful. Also, I've been trying just to find ways of incorporating using them for simple writing assignments, even the clearly smaller assignments, but instead of, if we would do this on a paper and pencil, can we use a whiteboard? Can we use the iPad? Is there a different way they can do it? Can they work with one another in teams or group work? Record each other, take pictures of each other working. So they're using the technology, and it's just they're more engaged in it because they're more a part of what's going on, and it's not as so much as adult driven. I can say that I think that when we have been able to spend time going through different apps or being introduced to them, and we can hear other people's ideas of how to use them, how they could be incorporated, useful, because sometimes we may see one thing, one way, and someone can bring in a totally new and innovative idea for the same app. And I think also because when you work with different grade levels, each grade knows exactly what they have to do, but it's interesting to hear how it can be used in the other grades. So you can find ways to link them up and engage the students. So if I hear something that a kindergarten teacher may do, I can take that and say, okay, well, my kids, they has to be a little bit, it has to be more difficult for them, and I have to kind of scaffold it up. But how can I take that same concept and scaffold it up for them? How can I do what a second grader would do and break it down so that the first graders can do it, but when they go to second grade, they will be more confident and more comfortable with it as well, and they're still working on the same skills, and they're still building off what they've already learned.